Dear friends and followers, welcome back to my channel and thanks for tuning into this video. I'm here with my buddy and pilot Pascal. Pascal and I have known each other for the past 2 years and he has just recently switched operators and now flies for a newly founded airline, Discover, here out of Frankfurt. Now I posted on my Instagram account that if you are interested in flying for Discover and want to hear all about the airline assessment, you shall send in your questions. Many of you did, so thanks for that. And this is what this video will be all about. As Pascal passed his assessment only a few months ago, he's happy to answer your questions. So it's time to discover, and let's get started.
1383, runway 27, clear takeoff. That is 15,
Before we get started, here are all your questions. And I think it would be quite nice if Pascal would actually start with a tiny little interview that you guys get to know him, who I'm actually talking to. So give us a little intro.
Hey everyone out there. My name's Pascal. I'm 28 years old, flying out of Frankfurt long haul. I've been with TUI for 3 years. Then there was that thing called COVID. Cost my job, but happily to say that I found a new one quite fast and I'm really happy where I am right now, flying the A330 on long haul destinations.
Nice, sounds good.
That's basically where I am.
How many hours do you roughly have now?
Around 1,300.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, not that many.
Yeah, good. All right, let's get into the sort of assessment questions. Well, I think a lot of people want to know how many parts are there of the entire Discover assessment, like in terms of days? And,
Okay. So they separate it in 3 days in total. Okay. So you've got on the first day, you've got the BQ, basic qualification. Then you've got the simulator screening, and the last day is the firm qualification.
Okay.
Which
Is that
so
the part
those
where
3 days?
The psychologists are involved in the last part?
You've got the psychologists, the group exercise and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, let's go into the first part on this sort of basic qualification. Can you sort of elaborate a little bit more on these psychometric tests, spatial disorientation, all of that kind of stuff?
Basically you go to Hamburg, to interpersonal, and they've got PC set up there for you, and you do all the typical pilot tests, psychomotoric stuff, and mathematics, physics.
There's multitasking stuff with the joystick.
Yeah, the multitasking stuff with joystick at the end of the day, and so basically all the computer-based tests
are taken on the first day.
Okay. Also, head calculation stuff with mathematics in subtraction, multiplication, divisions.
Okay.
And root calculations and stuff like that.
Okay. I'm not expecting root calculations to be done by head.
They're done by head.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good.
But you can learn them. Just learn the square roots.
Okay.
By heart, so 30 or 32 in your set.
Good.
I didn't say that, by the way.
But what about the physics stuff? Is that how deep do they go into the physics questions?
I would say as long as you basic understanding of physics out of school, the 11th grade or something like that, you're all set. It's nothing like rocket science physics. It's just basic physics questions.
But you would recommend to brush up before going into the interview?
Definitely.
Or into the
definitely.
test? Okay.
There are plenty of apps out there which can help you out with that.
Okay. Are there many, in terms of the maths questions, are there many like text-based questions where you have Pascal goes to the shop, buys 5 apples, and so on and so forth? Are there's some questions in there as well?
A few. Not many, but a few are in there.
Good question, and you're probably not allowed to use a calculator then, are you?
No, you're not. You've got a pencil and a paper, and that's it, basically. You get questions like, the tower is that high, you're standing there. The angle is that. What's the distance?
Okay.
Diagonal. So
what about the answers? Is it then multiple choice, or is it, do you actually write down the answer?
I remember that being type in or multiple choice.
Okay, both of them.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure anymore, actually.
Good. Okay. I think for a lot of people, a big one is also, and very underestimated, is the English exam. You remember the English exam? There was a lot going on about that, because weirdly enough, a lot of people fail that, surprisingly.
True.
Yeah.
True.
How did you prepare for that? Was that difficult?
I did prepare for it, because they ask you about grammatic questions, sentence building stuff, vocabulary as well, and stuff like that. So I prepared with a software called Vimana, not sponsored by the way here. And they basically give you grammatic sentences, you fill in the past tense and all that stuff, and vocabulary training. And I like watching movies in English.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the best way to learn English.
I agree.
Speaking it, watching it. So that's how I prepared.
I remember with my tests, there was a lot of them also with synonyms. Find the synonym to that
Oh
word.
yeah,
They
true.
were
There were
horrible.
plenty,
But
and they weren't
They're
easy.
No, they weren't easy.
But
They're
I've
quite
got
difficult. Yeah.
A friend of mine is native speaker in English,
Yeah.
and even he had problems solving
Yeah.
them.
So this is seriously, the English exam is not to underestimate. In any pilot's exam, actually, really prepare well for that, because a lot of people think they're somewhat good in English and they'll pass. A lot of people got quite surprised that they failed that, and that'll be really bad if that will be the root cause why you're not getting into the airline. So definitely prepare for the English exam. I think a huge biggie is obviously technical questions. Now, speaking of the technical questions, you came from the 737.
Correct.
Right? Were the questions then tailored towards the 737,
No.
or was it just broad technical questions?
It's more or less ATPL questions.
It is ATPL questions.
Yeah,
okay.
so when you apply with Discover, you need a license already. You can do an ab initio, it's called,
Yeah.
I think, program. So you gotta have a license, and that's where they ask you ATPL questions from the ATPL exam.
Do you remember how many there were?
Oh, I think around, was it 40 or 80? I've been to plenty exams now. I don't remember the exact number, but between even 40 or 80, I'm not quite sure.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's a big span here right now, but
absolutely.
I would say, I think it was 40.
Okay. Yeah, so yet again, another subject you kind of have to prepare for. It's not just English, it's not just maths and physics, it's also your ATPL theory needs to be at top notch when you go for these airline assessments. Any airline assessment, ATPL will always be a part of it.
I could recommend you to get your software back up running and just click some questions
Like
through there.
aviation exam?
Yeah,
these kind of
aviation
things,
exam and
okay.
cut.
All right, then, so that happened more or less all on the first day.
Correct.
Okay, then talk us a little bit into the second day. Is that the part of the
second
screening?
day is the screening.
Okay.
If you come with no hours, you do it on an FMPG. Can't say much about it because I had hours. So I had to do the screening on an A320.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And that was pretty much straightforward.
Okay.
You take off, you fly everything manually, obviously, because they want to see your flying skills and your communication skills. Then you flew a standard SID, did some air work, non-precision approach, precision approach, nothing special to it, basically.
Okay. VOR, radial intercepts?
Yeah.
That's pretty common.
There was a holding in there.
There was a holding in there.
And
for
you
sure.
had to, so they flew you somewhere and then they said, enter that holding. You had to do the entry procedure. You had to do briefing and everything.
Okay.
So that's the holding part. And then you go into the standard approach and then do another approach on ILS for landing.
Did you, speaking of all that was obviously without the flight directors?
Yes, everything
Without all
manually
the thrust?
raw data.
Everything raw data?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember which airport you took off from that day in the sim? I'm pretty happy that he doesn't know, because don't try and brief yourself onto that one airport. Because if your colleague said beforehand, oh, we went from, I don't know, Hanover or from Frankfurt or whatever, don't just brief yourself or plan with that runway or with that airport. Very often, just to put you off, they'll choose any other airport.
They do.
Yeah, so just be aware that your holding entry procedures are correct, that you know how to do that you know how to intercept a VOR radial, that you know how to fly a raw data ILS. Those are the key parts of these assessments. It's not really if you know the airport very well. They really want to just see if you can fly. That's the basic sort of idea of a screening.
Just one thing, and I could recommend everyone out there, if you have a screening, go and book a flight at a fixed space.
I very true agree.
And just get used to the cockpit you're going to be sitting in to get the hang of it and maybe fly it for a second.
Absolutely.
To know where you...
But they also do that when you come... You came from a 737, you had actually no idea.
Well, they give you like 5 to 10 minutes to look around.
Wow, so that is a good tip from Pascal. Really just try and get a sim session, fixed space will totally do the job. Just to,
get the hang
know
of
your
it.
bearings, where everything is, and maybe a couple of thrust settings. As far as did they give you thrust settings in advance, pitch and power?
I think you get a pitch and power tables and stuff like that.
So just learn
or
that.
Google them.
Yeah, or Google them. Yeah, correct. So this is something I think you can really, really prepare for well. using simulators like this and just go back into, or maybe a Microsoft Flight Simulator, just try and fly your radials again and your holding entries and your raw data ILSs. Okay, good. Okay, so speaking of the third day, so you passed the screening, then you went over to the third day.
Correct.
I guess this is the most challenging in my opinion because you are facing chief pilot, head of recruitment, the psychologist, and that kind of stuff. And with most assessments that I at least went through, there's always a group exercise, which involves a couple of other colleagues who are attending the assessment. 4 in total. Oh wow,
Yeah,
I had like 8 people.
8?
Yeah, it was tons of people in that one. And then you have also that one-on-one with the psychologist.
Correct.
Did you have that as well?
We had sitting 3 people in front of me.
Okay, good. Well, tell me a little bit about this group exercise. Do you remember what kind of scenario they gave you?
Yes, so we were all sitting in a room with walls between us.
Yeah.
Which was quite funny. I was sitting there like...
Was that due to Corona?
No, that was due to the group exercise.
Due to the exercise, okay, good.
No, that was due to the group exercise, I think, at least.
Okay.
So we were not allowed to see each other. Each one was handed a card with information on it.
Yeah.
And we had to solve a problem on a ship. We were cruising on a ship, and we had to go from one island to the other. And we had one guy had wind directions, the other one had timely details, and the other one had information from another ship which saw us at that time. And we had to talk to each other and make a big scenario out of it to then calculate together when we will arrive at that island.
Wow, that seems really difficult. To be honest, I mean, especially if we have no...
And we do not know who has which information.
Oh my word.
And then we also had like, because you're 5 or 10 minutes in the conversation, and then you have to ask who said that in the beginning, because you got to sort in your head what's going on. And that's the point where you realize you need a group leader. Because if everyone's just throwing in information, it's not working out. So I would recommend a group leader would be a good idea
it kind of runs the show, or sort of gets them all together. But
correct.
Would you then recommend to be that proactive person and be that group leader?
Because then,
were you that person?
Because then you go in an interview and then they ask you a question, oh, are you always a group leader or something like that? Because I would say if you do it in a humble and a cool way, do it.
We're on the same page because I used to do that as well. I was always the first one to get up to kind of take charge, but be that team player to get everyone involved. To literally also ask questions. What's your thought on that? You're not just be the decisive one and make all the decisions, but get everyone involved. So now I think, was there a lot of information on that card that was really, really important as well? That
I would say half. Half you could just throw away, and half was really important. But you figured out that it's important by talking to the others.
I understand.
It's really basic CRM exercises.
Good.
Which is really interesting to experience. I really liked it.
The thing is, you can't really prepare that in a way. It's really difficult. I think you can obviously ask your mates and put yourself into that kind of scenario. But I think this is especially tailored to actually find out what kind of character, type of personality you are. And yes, if you are a team leader, because you are working in this team effort, I guess this is really onto your social skills and just to see how well you play in a situation like that. Okay, then leading on to the next one, that is then this 1-to-1 or at least 1-to-3 where you...
So we had in the morning, we had some psychological questions.
Yeah, okay.
And then we had that group exercise, and then we had the big interview.
The psychological questions are just like
the in German Fragebogen.
The
questionnaire about your psychological things.
And they make that evaluation.
Are you an open person? Are you that? Got it. The basic pilot questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically. And then the big interview.
And that interview, as far as I remember, with all my assessments, it was always very based to my CV. I had to literally know exactly what I wrote down onto my CV, because they would ask you questions about, when year did you go there and there? And I said, wow, I don't know. I mean, it's been a while. It's been like 20 years back. So this is, would you recommend that you really have to know what you're handing in?
Know your CV.
Okay. And these questions, are they very intimate or very personal?
No, I felt really, really comfortable. I've never been in an interview like that.
Okay.
Actually, and it was such a humble and nice, and we laughed quite a lot even. And that was just a really nice atmosphere. They gave me, basically.
I think this is yet again very important what Pascal is saying here. A lot of people are incredibly afraid of this psychologist and obviously the chief pilot and the head of recruitment and so far. But at the end of the day, the people who are sitting opposite of you are very often also the people who want to fly with you in the future. So they just want to have literally that casual or sort of somewhat formal chat as if you are sitting with them at the bar and just introduce yourself a little bit. And they will ask a couple of tricky questions. And here again, I think we both agree on is that you shouldn't lie about yourself, because
Never.
they will immediately find out about it, and then they'll ask you a question, so you lied about that, and then 5 or 6 questions later, they will ask that same question again. And if you don't ask or answer exactly the way you did on the first round, they immediately know that you've lied, and then you can more or less just walk out of that interview.
Or they formulate it different.
Correct,
and then you answer your, you give them a different answer, and then
you more or less
just
out. You just want to walk out and say
might as well just say bye.
Okay.
So no lying.
No lying.
Be
no
yourself.
Lying.
Be just be yourself.
Good. Okay, so after the this one-on-one talk with the psychologist and the head of training and chief pilot, was there anything led up after that?
After the group, the interview, we had a feedback.
Oh, a feedback conversation?
A feedback conversation, and which was really nice, because then you went in there and then they asked you like, what would you have changed over the day maybe? Or questions like that, where you could question yourself. And that was also the point where you could ask them questions, obviously. And that was really nice, because you could get a little feedback over the day, what they thought of you, like choosing your questions right.
Yeah, okay.
And of course get information about the company.
Yeah, okay, nice.
So I was interested in what's the plan for the future, how many aircrafts, and I knew how many aircrafts they had at that day. Also really important, inform yourself about the company you're applying for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you don't want to sit in there, they ask you how many planes they have, and you might as well walk out there again.
I guess the best way to research is either their own website, or just go discover and type in Wikipedia, and you'll immediately find so much information which you can easily then brief yourself on. Okay, so that was then your 3 days. Is there anything...
More or less.
More or less. Is there anything you could add to that, or any key advice you would give away for any further pilots who want to...
Key advice, probably preparation is key.
Very
Prepare
true.
yourself, be yourself, have a great time. Don't be too harsh on yourself.
Okay.
Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. Okay, good. I have a few more just like sort of quick fire questions. Does Discover pay for the type rating?
Yes, they do.
Wow, I didn't even know that. That's amazing. Okay, good.
With a bonding of 2 years.
That's standard. Okay, good. How many pilots do you think is Discover hiring this year?
We need plenty of pilots.
Good, that's a good answer. Do you recommend taking an assessment preparation or seminar that goes over like 3 days?
Personally, I'm not the fan of doing those seminars, because I'm always thinking, just be yourself. And but for preparation, I chose SkyTest, which was really, really good. Like
For these,
for the BQ, the computer
multitasking,
tests
the
and stuff.
CVTs, okay.
Yeah, basically just that.
All right, good.
And that was brilliant.
Okay,
I
good.
felt really good prepared with that.
The big one here, do you need to be fluent in German speaking and writing?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. Viel Deutsch lernen bitte, Jungs. Okay. Okay, one more question, which I thought was pretty funny. What kind of clothing shall I wear for this assessment?
Quite funny, when they invited us, they
Yeah.
said in the mail that we should wear clothes that we feel comfortable in, because they want to get to know you the way you are.
Nice.
I wore...
I was going to say, don't come in your joggers.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't do that. All right, good. Okay.
or flip-flops, or just don't do that. So anyways, but I wore a suit on that day, because that's the way I feel comfortable in interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I would say just wear whatever you feel comfortable with, and
Just not too sloppy.
just not too sloppy, yeah.
Okay, good. I hope this interview type video style was helpful for you and gave you some insights on how to prepare for the airline assessment with Discover. Now, please keep in mind, many airline assessments or pilot selection processes are very similar. You'll be surprised that sometimes they even ask the same technical questions or use the same group exercise during the psychological evaluation. Me and Pascal both agree on that you should treat any assessment like a formal chat among pilots. Be honest about yourself, don't brag, stay humble, speak openly about your flaws when asked, And whatever you do, don't even think about lying. They will find out, I can assure you that, and then you'll miserably fail. That's it for today. Huge thank you to Pascal for making this video possible. Pascal, anything to add?
Thanks, Joey. And it's been a pleasure having you here in Frankfurt. And yes, I hope the collaboration was helpful for you guys. And if you want to see more and learn more about the lifestyle as a long-haul pilot on the A330, or how to fly a traffic pattern on the A320, definitely come over to my channel. The link will be in the description box, I guess. And there are many more interesting videos will await you there. So
good.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Do yourselves a favor and check out Pascal's video where he flew an aerobatic glider and pulled up to 5 Gs. It's exciting stuff. You'll enjoy it.
That was lovely.
So that's it from us. If you have any more questions, please contact Pascal. He'd be more than happy to help you out. And here is your checklist. Subscribe to both of our channels, check. Follow both of our Instagram accounts, check. Hit that notification bell, check. And don't forget,
A good pilot is always learning.
wishing you all the best. Your Captain Doe.
PASCALKLR. See ya.